Hello， 大家好，歡迎大家收睇 Pure Living， 我係 Ray。早前咧，我喺 YouTube 咧就睇咗一條片啦，就係探討咧一啲租客嘅遇到嘅問題啊。咁呢啲租客咧係本地英國人啦，咁其實都幾有趣，因為咧我哋好多時可能去睇英國樓市啦，就會喺一個買家嘅角度啊，或者業主嘅角度啦，咁其實都比較少聽到租客嘅心聲嘅，所以咧我就想同大家分析一下，究竟我哋點樣睇關於呢條片裡面嘅租客啦。
If you're a renter, you may have noticed that right now it feels harder than ever to find a home.
Ruined my entire year, if not my entire life.
Bidding wars, damp, mould, personality contests,
like X Factor.
Evictions for no reason, and skyrocketing rent.
Entirely unfair and completely unmanageable.
Basically like the Wild West.
So what's going on in the UK right now? And is it really the worst time ever to be a renter?
OK， 咁就見到佢呢個 introduction 啦，就好似講到啲租客有好多問題啊，無論係即係價錢方面啊，或者係居住環境啊，甚至乎係要同人爭，或者係好似去見工咁樣去面試先至揾到一間屋咁樣搬啊。咁其實個情況係咪咁呢？咁我相信其實要睇。有樣嘢，第一就係睇你想租邊類型嘅房屋啦。咁如果係比較high end 啲嘅，咁可能會多啲選擇，因為冇咁多人同你爭，始終入門檻較高。但係如果係比較入門級啦，即係 entry level， 即係例如好似係 HMO 啊，或者一啲小型嘅 buy to let 一房兩房咧，相對即係貴價樓啦。呢個就可能會遇到問題比較多啦，尤其是如果你係一啲旺區啊，相信如果大家係有打算去英國居住啦，如果好多人都會諗住係租先至買啦，咁都會遇到同樣嘅問題，就係可能好多時都要同人去爭咁嘅。
I'm 27, I've got a good job, I'm looking for something a bit less uni house. I was going through a breakup.And had to get out of the house ASAP.
Angharad was back on the market, not just for love, but for a room in a share house.
It was like dating. You were trying to look your best, but this time was hell. Was absolute hell.
嗱，咁片中咧，呢個女主角啦，27歲，同埋有一份穩定嘅工作啦。咁你見到佢話佢因為同前男友咁樣分手啦，所以佢都要即刻揾屋搬啊！咁呢個可能係即係其中一個問題啦。咁但係佢話佢係查詢咗超過100間我唔知佢嘅屋啦定係房啦。咁其實佢最終係揾到佢而家即係片中呢一間屋咁嘅。咁其實即係見到裡面嘅環境啦，即係有一啲潮濕啊，同埋即係個情況都唔係話好乾淨、好企理咁嘅。咁但係點解佢要揀呢間呢？就係因為佢冇選擇啊。咁其實而家咁嘅情況咧，喺英國咧絕對係唔罕見啊。咁如果你喺一啲大城市，尤其是喺一啲旺區啦，咁其實真係有好多人去想去租啦。尤其是而家個息口高啊，基本上好多年輕人咧係冇辦法上車嘅。咁如果佢冇辦法上車，佢當然租樓係佢唯一一個選擇。所以咧而家嘅情況就係你如果係可以買樓去投資收租，咁呢個都係一個絕對唔錯嘅時間嚟嘅。
Even if you do manage to get a viewing.
There were 90 people looking.
A belt of people.
30 plus people outside queuing.
My viewing has been cancelled.
Let's just say you decide you want to live there.
we had to go £250 over.
其實揾到地方去租咧，已經係當然係一件好難嘅事啦。喺片中佢哋有講，但係原來咧去睇樓已經係可以話係一種成功感啊！點解咧？原來佢話有啲樓啦，可能喺出邊已經係有成30人喺出邊排隊等緊睇樓。咁相信呢啲可能係即係有一啲地產啦，佢哋安排一啲叫 open day， 即係你隨時你唔需要登記，你隨時可以入嚟咁樣去睇啦。即係佢可能 set 定咗一日喺某個時間咁可以卻散咗 letting agent 佢成日派人去嗰間屋嗰度去放人入去睇啦，同埋咧都可以幫業主叫到一個更好嘅價錢嘅。咁另外咧有個人話可能有超過90人啊，有90幾人咁樣去睇啊。咁其實呢啲情況咧都唔係話未聽過嘅。咁我哋自己都係letting agent 啦，我哋自己喺劍橋咁樣有鋪頭都知道係有咁嘅情況，但係咧真係唔係一件罕有嘅事咯。
Finding somewhere to rent is an ordeal, made worse by soaring demand. And as the number of available places shrinks, rent is going up across the UK at the fastest rate on record.
咁我相信咧，可能有一啲觀眾或者觀眾認識嘅人咧，都聽過話，可能要係出價咧，即係佢哋嘅租金叫價咧，係要比叫價更加高啊！咁除此之外咧，就係可能係要一筆過俾6至到12個月嘅租金一炮過咁樣俾，尤其是如果你係海外嘅租客啦，因為你係冇 credit history 喺英國咧，咁呢啲咧係非常之常見嘅。
Almost 3.5 million people in England have had their rent raised in the last year alone by an average of £115 a month. And according to one property site, a single renter spends more than a third of their income on rent.
咁片中咧都有提供到一堆嘅數字啦，有350萬嘅租客咧係喺過去一年咧係有被加租嘅，咁平均咧就係加咗每個月115磅，令到佢哋即係本身佢哋嘅收入咧大概35%咧係放咗落去呢個即係房屋嘅租金裏邊啊。咁其實因為咁咧，英國你可以諗到，其實如果你已經係擺3成半嘅收入啦去租樓啦，其實都已經係好難去儲錢。
Manchester. Let's go talk to the people with the mattress. I want to find out what that's all about.
How do people who can't afford their rent anymore sleep? They have to rough sleep. That's why we have cardboard mattresses, the kind of stuff that people have to sleep on once they can't afford the rent anymore.
Are we giving up? No! Are we giving up?
Of all the reasons protesters gave for why they're angry about renting right now, one stood out in particular.
We've had 2 rent hikes this year. The landlord says he's just keeping up with the general rent increases in the area.
To stop greedy landlords, as the protesters here see it, and protect people from the cost of living crisis, they're calling for an emergency rent freeze, like the one recently introduced in Scotland.
To wake up one morning and put my rent up by £200-300 a month. I have nothing that I can do about that. That needs to change.
What do you say to those who would argue that, this is just the market? When there's more demand, prices go up.
Yeah, well, what do you do when there's a market failure? The market has failed.
嗱，咁英國咧好多時都會有一啲示威咁樣噶啦。咁其實但係呢個示威就係關於一啲租金上升嘅。咁其實好多即係呢一班嘅租客啦，佢哋就有見到咧，就係即係佢自己親身經歷咧，就係有呢一個即係被業主咁樣加租啊。咁片中有個男人話，佢過去1年係被業主加租2次啊。咁就係業主就解釋啦，就佢都係想跟翻即係追翻呢個市價。咁其實對於租客嚟講係咪一啲不公平嘅對待啦？咁呢個就係自己可以去思考下啦。但係因為即係過去呢個大概12個月到啦，咁個能源價格上升咧係好誇張，加上咧電油即係如果你揸車嘅話，你電油嘅上升咧都係一個好驚人嘅幅度嚟嘅。 咁所以咧，對於一般嘅打工仔嚟講咧，其實真係好大壓力啦。咁佢哋咧，甚至乎咧係想政府出手去打擊一班業主，令到佢唔可以去自由咁樣去加租。
I asked Peter Kemp, who's been researching housing policy for decades. Is it just greedy landlords pushing up prices?
It's nothing to do with greediness. It's what we live in a private enterprise, capitalist economy. The key underlying problem is a chronic undersupply of new build housing in Britain. We've got rising demand. When COVID hit, quite a lot of people left the city centres and now rents are rising when they've returned. And then there's general household growth. The population's growing. So it's like a perfect storm.
Many campaigners are calling for a rent freeze. Is that a solution to these problems?
A seductive idea, but actually it's misguided. The supply will go down even further. Existing landlords will get out. New landlords won't come in. So you have to find a solution that's a bit of a compromise that enables landlords to make a reasonable profit, but not an excessive one.
The National Landlords Association blamed the supply and demand issues on government tax policy.
咁可以見到片中咧，由牛津大學一個教授解釋啦，我哋喺一個資本主義嘅經濟體系啦，其實就唔能夠即係話夾硬由政府打壓業主去加價嘅。咁原因咧就係因為就算業主肯去減呢個租啦，或者係甚至乎即係凍結呢個租金啦。咁但係整體會點呢？其實就算業主佢唔加租，可能佢會改變佢出租嘅模式啦，即係可能本身由一個 buy to let 變成一個 HMO 啦，或者咧就係有機會咧就係佢會出售，咁買翻嚟可能都係一啲自用買家啊，或者如果你係多咗樓咧，其實好多人等上車，而家又上唔到車。因為息口高，同埋佢哋個儲錢嘅能力咧都減少咗嘅，所以長遠嚟講咧，如果真係有一個 rent freeze 咧，都係解決唔到呢一方面嘅問題嘅。
Well, it left me here. I'm living at my dad's house in Wolverhampton. Never thought that I'd have to live here again.
It was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? Because I thought she'd be coming for a bit.
And it was meant to be 2 weeks and it's turned into 3 months.
Yeah. You just feel like this is wrong, I shouldn't be here. I'm an adult now.
Like a lot of people, Jess has turned to house share websites too, but the whole experience has left her exhausted.
A furnished room in a house, £2,617 per month. That is insane.
What about the messages you've sent out?
Absolutely no replies at all. Nothing. I almost made my peace with the fact that I could never buy a house, but now you can't even move to a new town. That makes me feel so trapped. That's so scary. I just feel like I'm not making the most of life.
Renters can keep hoping for government action or that the market cools down. But until then, they'll have to deal with this perfect storm in renting and maybe settle for poor conditions, grueling house hunts, or sticking it out at home with mum and dad.
片中第二女主角一個34歲嘅女人啊，咁佢就要搬到去同佢嘅爸爸一齊住啦。咁佢甚至乎佢話佢本身咧就諗住可能係即係佢換屋嗰陣時，即係佢由一間屋搬到去另一間屋，佢係暫住喺佢爸爸度。本身咧係諗住住2個星期左右，但係點知咧而家已經係3個月啦。咁其實佢一路咧都係揾緊屋或者揾緊房去搬啦。但係你見到哇片中佢揾嘅地方啊，佢雖然佢冇提及到喺即係嗰間房嘅 location 喺邊啊，但係佢講係一間有連家私嘅房啦，一個月咧係2600幾磅嘅租金嘅。咁我相信呢個都相對係好驚人啦，同埋都係唔係好多打工仔，無論你咩職業都好啦，係可以 afford 得到嘅。咁所以咧，佢自己都話：哦，其實我本身咧都接受咗，即係我係呢一世人咧都唔會有能力去買樓噶啦。但係原來咧可能係甚至乎冇能力租樓，令到佢真係好沮喪啊！咁即係話可能 佢諗住可能由一個地區搬去另一個地區咧，佢都冇呢一方面嘅能力啊，因為其實而家現時嘅租金咧實在太離譜啦。咁其實即係整條片咧，我都覺得係幾 insightful， 就可以睇到好多嘢啦。即係我哋做英國物業投資，其實咧係可以見到而家英國嘅居民啦，佢最需要邊方面嘅房屋啦，或者係邊類型嘅 strategy。咁如果你自己係諗住即係買樓去投資啊，咁可以不妨去諗下究竟係點樣係對於你嚟講係最低風險同埋即係個回報相對較好啦。咁大家如果中意呢條片，或者想知道多啲英國物業嘅資訊啦，歡迎可以 subscribe 我哋嘅 channel 同埋撳響個鐘仔。有乜嘢問題可以喺下邊留言。下集再見，拜拜。